Okay, and we're back talking with Benjamin Fulford. Google's effort to inject itself into Chinese life in its entirety, unencumbered by any censorship whatsoever, has failed. The Chinese are trying very hard to keep Western Zionist immorality, decay, pornography, and other objectionable things out of Internet service for its people. Google, of course, is in a huff, but Google is a primary arm of the globalist elite, the people who wish to...
Look, I mean, Google is clearly an evil organization despite their motto. I had a friend who went to a lot of effort to build a 911 truth video using original film, and he got up to 1 million hits on YouTube, and suddenly it was reset to 0. Same thing happened to me. I don't know how many times they just fiddle with the numbers. They distort the search parameters.
You bet.
You can't trust the stuff that comes up first or second or third. You have to go down to 50th sometimes to get to real information. It's a huge censorship and mind control organization. Now, maybe they started out idealistically, but the men in black came and gave them, read them the Riot Act. And what they were doing in China was they were trying to, take over the Chinese search market by promoting pornography and saying, hey, you use us and you get to see more pornography. And the Chinese, have a culture of shame, and they think public sex is shameful, and so they try to restrict pornography. This is not about freedom of information unless it's, sexually explicit information.
Correct.
And then that's why the Chinese say, okay, if you're not going to act according to our laws and our customs and our culture, then get out. It's just, that's what, when in Rome, you do it to Romans. I don't like everything about China, and there's certainly a lot of ways they could improve their freedom of information and other things. But right now, I'm sad to say, communist China is a lot freer place than Nazi United States is. Mm. That's a fact of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they don't want to. They don't want to have chaos. They don't want to have suffering. They don't want to have riots. They don't want to have a civil war in the United States. So everything is being done behind the scenes to arrange for a smooth transition. That's why people say, where are these 100,000 people? Well, there's more than that, and it's being done. Like I said, they've cut off the Fed dollars. They're now going to, my latest information is that the IRS will be disbanded in February 2011. Okay, let's see if it happens. But that's what they're saying.
And replaced by what?
Well, state taxes. Washington will become a much smaller town. In fact, if I were a gambling man, I'd short Washington real estate. I'm not a gambler, of course. I think you should only buy real estate if you want to live in it or use it. But they don't want, like I say, disorder, chaos. They don't want to have the world economy freeze up and seize up. So a lot of tweaking has been done behind the scenes. A lot of high-level meetings have been taking place. And things are being ironed out. And bankers have been arrested by the thousands now. And they've murdered over 100 to cover this up. Now you say, well, I didn't read about that. Well, you didn't read about it in the Zionist newspaper, but if you monitor, for example, the FBI homepage every day and start adding up how many bankers are announced to be arrested over the past couple of years, you'll see it's the thousands. And again, you won't find a list of, you can find a list of about 105 or so murdered bankers, but it won't be in the Zionist press. What you'll see is, one guy found dead in the bottom of his pool, another guy apparently shot himself in suspicious circumstances. In little tiny items, one by one. They don't string them together.
Sure.
They don't connect the dots for you. But there has been a financial World War III raging since at least 2006, and it's still going on, but we're confident we're getting close to the end now. I know it's hard to see from within the United States because they have an incredible control grid there.
Right.
They compartmentalize everything.
Oh, yeah.
So people have only limited information, and they've been brainwashing you since you were born. Even members of my own family cannot figure this out.
Right. 2 full generations now completely under the thumb of the controllers, and the third on the way.
Tony the Tiger selling me sugar flakes when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I'm just lucky I grew up mostly outside of North America.
Well, it began with the installation of the MTV generation. That was the big push on the media, the visual media platform, to get people to give up a lifestyle and adopt another. The imagery became overwhelming in a big hurry, and since then it's been all
interesting, though,
downhill.
actually, about the young generation is that some of them, they can't write a decent English anymore. Their spelling is shot.
They can't. 75% are functionally illiterate. Those who even bother graduating from high school.
Can edit videos, and it's like they're going away from writing to visual text on the internet. So
they're sure good at video games too.
Read and write very well, but they can edit video and put it up on the internet.
And
so it's like they're going away from written language.
Sure.
Now that's a mixed blessing, but
well, here's another thing to add to that, Ben. Texting on cell phones has what's called predictive text. You don't have to spell anymore. You can hit the first two letters of a word, or three, or misspell a word, and it'll correct it for you automatically.
Yeah, well, that's we do that, when we read English. Also, like if you see the word population, you don't go, you just see it and recognize it all at once. So, okay, I'm one of those guys who say, hey, if you invent the calculator, then you don't need to learn the abacus. And English spelling is one of the most disorganized and difficult and messed up things ever.
And constantly changing. It's rules and bedrock are gone.
So maybe we need some of this stuff. And the other thing that's happening is like, as you can all tell, we're reaching some kind of new paradigm. And it's happening on the Internet. That's why, despite all this sort of rosy talk on the corporate propaganda media about the economy, you can have an opinion poll that says 78% think everything's going to collapse. It means they're no longer trusting what the corporations are telling them. It means they believe the Internet more than the corporations. That's a very good sign. It means the information, the mind control grid is falling apart. The matrix is finally breaking up. And I keep saying, there's signs everywhere. You don't just have to read arcade internet sites written by people who think they're from the fifth dimension anymore to find this stuff. It's out there, all over the place. Even in the corporate media, it's leaking its way in.
Right. All right, stand by, Ben. We'll be right back with our final segment, live from Tokyo, in just a minute. Okay, back with Ben Fulford, our final segment. He is in Tokyo. I am not in Tokyo. All right, Ben, we got one segment to go here.
All right, I want to tell you that the Chinese Politburo actually sent an envoy to talk with me, and they promised to make available billions and billions of dollars to actually start building the factories in April. The technology's already been looked at. The testing has been done, and we're going to start building the stuff in April.
Mm-hmm.
And the United States has all this technology that they've suppressed for so-called national security reasons.
Right.
And if they don't hurry up and start developing that themselves, you're going to end up like in the Stone Age compared to Asia.